Okay, I will start now. So good morning and good afternoon and good evening to all of you joining us today from around the world. So welcome to the SDG in Practice session on digital platforms and data innovation for SDG implementation and monitoring. So my name is Yong-Yi Min. I'm the chief of the SDG monitoring section at the UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs and the Statistical Division. So I'm pleased to be monitoring today's session, so organized by our office in collaboration with several national statistical offices. So as many of you know, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development underscores the importance of data and evidence-based policymaking. It also especially highlights the central role of official statistics in tracking global progress on the SDGs. So yet, despite remarkable progress in the availability of SDG data, a significant gap remains, especially for indicators requiring disaggregated data or new types of information that help us understand the realities of vulnerable or marginalized populations. To address this, countries are stepping up with innovative solutions. National Statistical Office are increasing adopting digital platforms, non-traditional data sources, and new methodologies, from geospatial data and mobile phone data to real-time monitoring tools. So integrated databases and citizen data. These innovations are not just technical fix, they're helping countries improve timeliness, filling critical data gaps, and ultimately ensure that no one's left behind. So today's session is about learning from those innovation in practice. So we'll hear a concrete example of how national statistical offices are using digital tools to improve SDG monitoring and policy relevance. We'll also be introduced to the UN data platform. This is a global tool to support SDG data accessibility and analysis. So this session is designed to be practical and interactive, exploring how digital platform and non-traditional data can enhance SDG monitors. We hope you will come away with not only new ideas and tools, but also a stronger sense of what's possible when innovation is grounded in national priorities and supported by robust official statistics. So thanks again for being here with us today. I will now briefly go over some housekeeping notes before we begin. So microphones has been disabled, so no one accidentally unmutes themselves. So during the Q&A and the discussion session, please submit any comments or questions in the chat or raise your virtual hand. So we will try to get to as many of the questions as possible. So this event is being recorded and will be available on the event page soon after this event. So with that, I will first invite my colleague Heather Page and to provide set the scene and provide SDG progress and the data innovation 10 years into the SDG. Over to you, Heather.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. I have some slides, so I will share those now. Okay. Just 1 second, sorry. Okay, great. Thank you so much. I'm Heather Page with the UN DESA Statistics Division, working with Yong-Yi Min on SDG monitoring. And I just want to give a quick overview of the SDG progress over the last decade, but in particular with a focus on data innovation. Oops, sorry. Okay, I'm sorry, I can't find my, there we go. So the SDGs over the last 10 years have helped improve millions of lives over this past decade, but we are still off track to meet all of the goals by 2030. The recently published the Sustainable Development Goals Report 2025 includes an overall progress looking at the targets of the 2030 agenda. And right now, only 35% of targets are on track or making moderate progress. Nearly half are moving too slowly, and 18% are going in reverse. And here we show what that overall progress looks like, but then also what that progress assessment per each of the 17 goals looks like. It really paints a very clear picture that we have a very decisive 5-year countdown that's starting now, and we truly need urgent, coordinated action to get the SDGs on course. And so, in order to understand where we are in this progress assessment, we have the SDG monitoring, which underpins the global SDG indicator framework. And when this SDG monitoring framework was first established in 2016, only a third of the indicators had good data coverage. But over the past decade, we've seen significant progress in strengthening data systems to support SDG monitoring across countries. And today we've gone from that third percentage of data coverage to almost 70% of SDG indicators have good coverage, and all 234 indicators now have well-established methodologies. But we still have critical gaps in key areas. And we see that even though we have this encouraging progress since in this chart we have between 2019 and 2025, there are still persistent gaps across certain goals, such as Goal 5, Goal 11, Goal 13, and Goal 16, which have below 40% of trend data coverage. And this really highlights where we have critical blind spots in monitoring, revealing that priority development areas really require targeted investment in these last 5 years. And so this brings us in particular to the topic of our discussion today, which is the role of national statistical offices and how they are expanding the data ecosystem for SDG monitoring and the inclusion of different innovations for data. So there are challenges for traditional data and SDG monitoring, such as censuses, surveys, and administrative records, and challenges that countries are facing, such as time lags in the data collection, the cost of this data collection, gaps in coverage, especially in rapidly changing areas, a limited granularity that's not really capturing the local or community or particularly the situation for marginalized groups, and also resource constraints, in particular with drying up of assistance, but also in targeted resources for data and monitoring. And so the sources like satellite imagery, mobile phone data, social media data, citizen data, and big data can really help to enhance and improve the SDG monitoring in countries. And why this non-traditional data? Because this really also allows for improved timeliness, filling those gaps in coverage and the data granularity, in particular for remote or underrepresented areas. It helps to also capture new dimensions that perhaps were not able to be captured in those traditional methods. It's also very cost efficient, and it also can help to validate or cross-check even some of those traditional data sources. So what does this look like kind of on the ground? And so we have many examples across the world of countries engaging with these different non-traditional data supporting the SDG monitoring. And for example, we have small area estimation work in Indonesia for poverty estimation, for food insecurity experience in Chile, also in Colombia. We've seen Earth observation data used to develop land and ecosystem extent accounts in the Philippines. There's also been work in the state of Palestine and also in Jordan looking at open street maps or satellite imagery on access for 1171 on access to open spaces. Ghana has also worked with citizen science data to monitor marine litter. Colombia has also used experiential data and estimates on SDG 16 for perception indicators. We actually heard yesterday in a VNR lab where Ghana is also using rapid assessments, phone assessments for also SDG 16 perception indicators as well. And so countries are really utilizing a lot of this non-traditional data to really support SDG monitoring and expanding that data ecosystem. And of course, there are challenges and opportunities that come with this. And it's important to recognize that some of those challenges also include validating the accuracy and reliability of these additional data sources, ensuring data privacy and adhering to ethical standards, addressing biases that also may exist, and also technical capacity, data governance, resource requirements, and also there may also be coordination complexities. But again, it's also an opportunity. And what we're seeing throughout this last decade over SDG monitoring is that partnerships are key. And national statistical offices in this enhanced and greater data ecosystem for SDG monitoring are really partnering with different organizations that perhaps were not part of their data value chain process before. So you're seeing the collaborations with international organizations, private sector, academia, and also civil society. For instance, collaborations with space agencies on satellite data, public-private partnerships also for tech companies, and then joint initiatives with universities, and then collaborations with citizens for citizen data. And so this is just to give us kind of an opening scene setting for what we will be discussing today. We have some country examples on how they are implementing data innovations and also data platforms to really open up the SDG monitoring in country. And so as the SDGs in practice are very much focused on as learning spaces, I wanted to also provide a few useful resources for finding additional information on innovative data sources and methods that can be used for SDG monitoring. For instance, our wiki site on good practices has this is an annual questionnaire that we send out to countries for NSOs, specifically requesting information on a lot of that non-traditional data source work that countries are engaged in, and in particular also how they're addressing data disaggregation in other areas. We also have Data for Now initiative. We have a quality framework, a UN Committee of Experts on Big Data, and then also a collaborative on citizen data, and also one on administrative data, which I will also add. So I'll stop there and pass back to Young-Yi. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Heather. And so I will pass it over to my colleague Daniel, and after that we can take a couple questions. Daniel will give a demonstration of the UN data platform. Over to you, Daniel. Can you, we cannot hear you. Okay. Can the organizer enable Daniel's mic?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
I can.
Okay. Now. Okay.
I was disabled. So yeah, I'll thank you, Youngie. I'll be just showing a short demo of one of the tools we have uh, in support of the SDG monitoring. So this is what Heather was mentioning. So it's a tool that we've been working and developing and using it to explore SDG data. There are other sections, so the easiest way to go to it is from Google. You just type UN Data Commons, and the website takes you to the UN Data Commons for SDGs. This is a platform that was actually launched back in September 2023 to support the SDGs exploration. Since then, it has grown and developed into incorporating our reports. The one Heather was showing were the Sustainable Development Goals report. The latest version is also integrated here. Here you will see information for SDGs related indicators by country area, where you can pick here, or you can also see the Sustainable Development Goals as all of the 17 goals in one page that allows users to go through them. So just clicking through, if for instance, you go into any of the goals, you get the highlights. This is actually coming from our report, which is released like 2 weeks week ago. All the highlights are coming from the remote. This is integrated into the platform, so you can also see the data stories that come along with the report, uh, and any other material associated to it. So here we have also infographics that you can use to kind of promote some of the report here in our case for goal 5. There is an infographic for election related women representation in parliament and local government. You can also download these, copy, share a link, and share it. Another interesting thing is this is more interactive than the infographic, so you can go to the specific target this indicator, sorry, this infographic is pointing to here is 551. So if you go to that, you get the pages related to the infographics, data stories, and the data set itself at the global level. We have incorporated these. This is integrated with the global SDG database. The data is sourced from there, but being presented in a more palatable way for novice users. They can see progress and track. So here is the progress for the global version. We also have maps, and we've recently introduced lists of the data that goes along with the map. Here you see also kind of highlights on the status. This is as of 2023, this is at 35.5% representation at the local government on women representation, and all related to this is also being displayed. So this is an easier way to sift through what is available if you're really interested into looking into, say, for instance, this is national parliament sitting. You can see it in the map. It's You can also download the data into an image or the data itself, so you can do additional things on it, or you can also filter by the year. So most available years, here you see the latest data is 2024, but if you click on 24, the map also adjusts accordingly. But you can also see the number of countries reporting also adjusted. So if you want to do a quick comparison of, for instance, say Algeria here, the 2024 is 32%. If I switch it to, say, 2017, Algeria used to have 146. This is a count, actually. So you can do quick analysis checks here. This is one of the things we have in exploring the data, but you can also come back here and you can filter this data set to areas you're interested in. For instance, region, I can pick Africa, so you can see data for Africa represented with the maps, the data tables. Uh, if you are very much focused on a specific country, you can come back and say, I was looking at Algeria, maybe I can say Algeria here, I can pick Algeria. Then the visuals change here. It shows you the data related to Algeria. You see the progress here from 2000 until 2024 here, the percentage representation. So a lot of information is here, which you can incorporate into reports or insights you wanted to share. The other key thing that we have here on this platform is mainly the natural language query that you can ask human readable questions to the data, and then you get results back. We have sample queries here, for instance. If you look through here, you can all these questions can be answered if I, for instance, looking at women in a managerial position in India, so you can get data right out of the database quickly with charts, with callouts. You can explore more. what it does is it starts with the initial answer, also expands to other related indicators to this data set, to this query, sorry. So this is also pulling data from other thematic areas. This platform started as an SDGs showcase, but it has now expanded to support other thematic areas. So you see dataset coming from ILO, UNICEF, WHO, and other sources. So we're building the data in the back so that users can be able to explore resources here. Here, I'm putting India, so it's also context sensitive in a way. You can compare it. How about in, say, Kenya? What it does is it tries to remember what you've been asking previously. So it's looking into you see proportion of women in money. I didn't even ask what indicator I was looking to, but it, since it's context sensitive, it kind of remembers what you've been searching and provides you with details on this specific indicator for other countries. So I will start with India and then looking to Kenya, and I can also do other searches. If you for a starter, we have all these queries here. We encourage people to look into this. For instance, here, sample query on Hungary, Nigeria. So this also gives you information from Nigeria on hunger relevant to SDGs database. So the sources are here. If you're very much interested in diving deeper into the database, you can go to the actual source of the data, where the data is coming from, and can do more statistical table exploration, downloads, and things like that. We also have other a little bit complicated in a way comparison that you can do. You can Here is an example on comparing uh, it should comparing uh, progress on poverty between multiple countries, here between Mexico, Nigeria, and Pakistan. So you get out of the box kind of comparative tables and indicators that you can look through. So this website is there for you to explore. We have areas where you can also look into thematic areas, but our focus for today is on SDGs. But we also have, just to give you a teaser, classification of thematic areas where you can actually search. This also brings data from the SDGs from other agencies, so you can also look here, seeing work in unemployment data that is being pulled from the thematic area plus the SDGs database. And here you can also see who the partners are. So we have multiple partners providing data that you can explore more. Just a way of showcasing what we have. We welcome you to go through and look through the information. So all the data we have released last week is now integrated into this platform for you to explore. If you have, yeah, I will put the links in the chat so you can explore on your own and then understand what's happening in the world in SDGs, and yeah, extract insights and share it to your networks or write it on your report or presentation. This is just a quick demo for you to go through the website. Back to you, Yongi. Thank you.
Thanks, Daniel, to give us a quick demo of the UN Data Platform. So I invite all of you to explore the website. And I think given the time, maybe we can save the question until later. And I saw colleagues and introduce them online from all over the world. So it's very nice to meet you. So if you like, I encourage you to introduce yourself and in the chat. So without overdue, I will go to the next segment of this session, and this is will be a country experience. And so in this session we will have 4 countries to present their country experience on digital platforms and data innovation for SDG implementation and monitoring. So each presenter will have 8 to 10 minutes, and I will remind you and when there's 1 minute left. So first, I would like to invite Ms. Yo-Shea Park from Statistical Korea to present the SDG monitor activity and data innovation from Korea. Over to you, Ms. Park.
Thank you, Yoongi. Hello everyone. My name is Young-Sil Park. I'm from Statistics Korea, also known as COSTEP. Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here. And today I'm going to talking about SDG monitoring activity and data innovation. At COSTEP, there are 4 pillars of SDG monitoring, which follow a cyclical feed process. First, we compile official SDG data and provide the international agency upon the request. This is coordinated through SDG data governance involving 28 ministries. Based on SDG data, we publish an annual SDG progress report, which gives a comprehensive overview of where we stand on each goal. Alongside the report, we also share all SDG-related data and metadata through our SDG data platform. Lastly, we have actively engaged with diverse stakeholders through the SDG Data Innovation Forum. This photo was taken at the end of second forum. From this year, this forum is integrated with other national forums. We believe that most important goal of this monitoring framework is to improve data availability for more comprehensiveness and inclusiveness. In order to achieve this goal, we have undertaken efforts in following 3 areas. First, data disaggregation for reflecting diverse population groups. Second, integration of multiple data sources to fill the data gaps and improve data accuracy. Third, the use of citizen-generated data for encouraging participatory monitoring. Although citizen-generated data is still in early stage in Korea, I believe that it is worth sharing. When I first began working on SDG, I assessed whether our existing statistical system could support data disaggregation. What I found was that basic items like sex and age were collected in most surveys in well-standardized way, but other items such as disability was only included in very few surveys. So I decided to introduce internationally standardized item for data disaggregation and achieved 2 key milestones. One major improvement is in measuring disability. Previously, we mainly relied disability statistics on register-based data. In 2021, we adopted Washington Group's disability question in our social survey. This question asks difficulty in functioning such as seeing, hearing, and so on. But after introducing self-reported items, we found the prevalence rate of disability is higher in survey compared to register-based data. It implied that the register-based system may have underreported people with disabilities. We also improved urban and rural classification. Korea has no officially agreed definition on urban and rural, so we adopted the degree of urbanization methodology, which is new definition that based on population grade. Using this method, we developed geospatial data and launched an urbanization map of Korea as shown in the figure. In the map, red and yellow represent urban area, and the rest are rural area. You can clearly see the urban areas are concentrated in the Seoul metropolitan region. When you zoom in on the figure, we also found that the urban across the boundary of administrative district. Actually, this is the one of the key advantages of this method. It provides a constant way to classify urban and rural regardless of change in administrative districts. In summary, adopting harmonized item in statistics provides a solid foundation for internationally comparable data disaggregation. The second key approach is integrating multiple data sources, such as sensors and big data. Let me show you an example using indicator 11.2.1, which measures proportion of population that has convenient access to public transport. To produce this indicator, we combine two types of data. First data set comes from population sensors, which provides the information where people live. The second is traffic big data, which contains the location of public transportation. By overlaying these two spatial data, we were able to calculate how many people live within 500 meters of a public transport according to the metadata. In our analysis at the national level, the public transport accessibility rate is nearly 100%. However, we take a closer look, you can see some regional difference as indicated by the yellow on the map. By access, it tends to be lower accessibility in rural area. By disaggregating this data and combining with other indicator, we can gain more deeper insight. This map is showing the distribution elderly people living outside the 500 meters of public transport. And this map shows the daily service frequency of public transport. Through all three maps, you can recognize the rural area with the low, you can recognize the rural area in low accessibility, tends to have more elderly people residing and fewer public transport service. This suggests that the elderly in rural area may face mobility challenge, which has important implication for inclusive transport policy. I think this insight is not visible through census or big data alone. Lastly, I'd like to highlight the citizen-generated data. According to Korea Climate Adaptation Strategy, citizen participatory monitoring is emphasized. This approach is relatively new in Korea, but I believe that this is valuable data source for monitoring climate change and SDG. For example, the Korea Biodiversity Observation Network brings together government, scientists, and citizens. They collect habitat data of climate-sensitive species. This is the case of bird monitoring. If you encounter a bird designated as a climate-sensitive species, you can take a photo and upload it along with the information such as time, place, temperature, and so on at the time of observation of the bird. This map shows the distribution of birds identified various citizen participants. Another example is National Coastal Debris Monitoring. It has been carried throughout collaboration between public agency and civil society organization to prevent marine pollution. This kind of activity not just only help to fill data gap, but also enhance political efficacy by involving citizens in policy-making process. This is my last slide. Through my work with SDG monitoring, one thing has become more clear. Data innovation is essential, not just for data availability, but for better policy. By using new tools and approach, we move toward more inclusive and comprehensive data. And ultimately, this supports the core SD principle, leaving one behind. This is all from me. And finally, I would like to share some resources I used in the presentation. You can visit Korea SD Data Platform and SD Data Innovation Forum site for more information. I've also included some research article I've written on data innovation. So if you need a file, just let me know. I email to you. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much. Yongxi gave this really excellent presentation and gave us three good examples on how Statistical Korea use innovative data sources, including the data desegregation, include the persons with disability, the integrated multiple data sources for urban and rural estimation, and also citizen data. So it's really excellent. So we will also thank you for sharing all these additional resources. So if you have any questions for Yongxi, and you can maybe save it, and we will come back to you at the end of all the presentations. Next, I would like to invite Ms. Khalid Abu Khalid from Palestinian Central Bureau of Statistics to present how Palestine utilizes the geospatial data to inform national policies and decision-making for the implementation of the 2030 agenda. Over to you, Mr. Khalid.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah,
Please go
thank
ahead.
you so much. Thank you so much. Thanks for this opportunity. Actually, it is our pleasure to be part of this session. In the upcoming 10 minutes, I will introduce briefly our experience with Data for Now initiative and our national partners as well. I will talk about utilizing the geospatial data regarding informing the national policy and decision makers on the status of SDGs. So please move to the first slide. Yeah, so once the Data for Now initiative conducted BCBS to explore the possibility to be part of this initiative, BCBS has contacted the National Committee of the SDGs. This committee is headed by the Prime Minister Office and also the Ministry of Local Government, Ministry of Transportation, and other non-governmental partners, including the Association of Palestinian Local Authorities and some ministries, in order to agree on the national priorities within the scope of the Data for Now work. So please, the next slide. So based on the consultation, we agreed on working on goal 11. So we have missing data regarding goal 11, the indicators 11.31, 11.71, and 2:1. But why choosing these indicators? Next slide, please. We have actually two broad reasons. So the first one, many years, Palestine has recognized the imperative to respond to requirements of urban growth and improve sustainability and quality of services provided to the citizens. However, the absence of these indicators to measure these national priorities meant that we had limited knowledge of the situation in such cities. So SDG 11 indicators measures the sustainability of the cities. However, some of the indicators are complicated and they require the integration of geospatial data and the statistical data, such as the census data. So there was a combination between the data produced by the Central Bureau of Statistics and the geospatial data that the Ministry of Local Government and other agencies use to inform the policymakers regarding this the situation of the indicators on the ground. The another reason, which is the political issue, as you may know, that the political reason poses a big challenge here in Palestine because the Israeli occupation occupies those empty spaces. For example, the case of Jabal Abu Ghneim. This is in Beit Lahan Governorate. This area was a natural reserve, but the Israeli government built a settlement and other places. Additionally, the spread of the so-called Israeli industrial zones, such as Burkan complex in Salfit Governorate in the north of the West Bank, where these governorate contain a natural reserve, which causes a problem in the balance that we are trying to maintain as land owners. Next slide, please. So BCBS and Ministry of Local Government quickly decided to work closely together within the Data for Now initiative to close the data gap, as I mentioned, within the support of the Statistical Division and UN Habitat. And we have been trained in the necessary skills to use different geospatial data to create population grid, define the degree of the urbanization, and establish a national sample of the cities and validate the data to compute the SDG 11 indicators. So to achieve such results, a 5-day training course was organized at BCBS premises in Ramallah. The training was focused on the theoretical definition of the indicators and practical training, including the necessary skills to use the different geospatial data and create population grid, define the degree of urbanization, establish a national sample of cities, and validate the data compute SDG 11 indicators. So to achieve the max utilization of the training course, several online meetings were organized prior to the training with Data for Now experts and the UN Habitat in order to agree on the data needed, the shape and the structure of the data set, in addition to the role of each partner. Additionally, many technical issues were discussed during the training meetings. Advices and solutions were introduced to the technical team and suggested solutions to cover many issues regarding the data sets and how to bridge the gaps in the data sets before the training. These meetings had a positive impact in terms of preparation for training and the requirements, as well as the qualification required for the trainees and the needed data. Next slide, please. So as for the sample selection, we can consider that Palestine is statistically divided into 4 regions. In the West Bank, we have 3, the North, Middle, and South, and Gaza Strip. So 34 urban localities were selected out of 137 localities. The selection was based on the number of population and the region, and the period analysis was from 2012 until 2017, and the second period from 2017 to 2022. Next. As for the analysis, the data sources we used was the aerial photo sources, open sources. We used the open sources to get the satellite imagery. As for the population data, population projections at the enumeration area level, in addition to census data, and the boundaries of the selected localities were used. Next. Many challenges were faced us during the work on these indicators. So the major challenges was as follows. I mean, many of the Israeli settlements were settled within the administrative boundary of the Palestinian localities. Accordingly, we were excluded these areas. Some of the refugee camps are located within the boundaries of the urban areas. Accordingly, they were included in the calculation. For example, Kaddura camp, which is located within the boundary of Ramallah city. So because the people who are living within this camp receive many services from the municipalities, especially Ramallah municipality, we decided to keep the Kaddura camp within the calculation. But the biggest challenge was the continuous, unfortunately, aggression against Gaza, where more than 80% of Gaza Strip built area of localities are severely destroyed. So at that time, we decided to exclude Gaza from the exercise. Only one indicator were calculated for Gaza, while the rest 2 indicators were excluded. Next, please. So we expect, regarding the data utilization, that the data will support the decision making or maker to develop the needed policies and actions for sustainable use of land and control the land consumption in rational manner, and support the decision maker and urban planners to increase accessibility regardless of income, gender, or disability status. In the long term, the data on city expansion, as well as access to open public spaces, will be used by city planner at the ministerial and municipality level to make Palestinian cities more livable and sustainable. Also, the data recently used by Ramallah municipality, where they produced the first local vulnerable report, and we expect that many cities will use the data for the same purpose and other purposes. Unfortunately, we couldn't prepare the our national report because of the situation in Palestine, but hopefully the next round we will be able to prepare the report, and I'm sure that the data we got, it will inform the decision maker and the progress regarding SDG 11. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Khalid. Thank you for sharing this excellent examples through Data for Now project and using geospatial data to monitor three indicators under Goal 11 and also working together with UN Habitat. If you have any question for Khalid, you can either post in the Q&A, use the Q&A features, or wait for the end of this segment and after the presentation, then we will offer you opportunity to ask questions. So our next speaker will be Alexis de Jesus Gomez from National Statistical Office of Dominican Republic. Alexis will give us a presentation on data innovation and non-traditional data sources on use in extreme events and disasters. So over to you, Alexis. You're muted. I think we still cannot hear you. I think I don't know what's the sounding system that doesn't work. Yeah, we still cannot hear you. I was wondering if you can, we'll go to the next speaker. Maybe you can log in and log back again and to try to see that to solve the problem. While we invite the next
Thank you
speaker.
very much.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to talk about, yeah, can you hear me now?
Okay, now I can hear you. Yes.
Can you
yes.
hear me now? Hear me?
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'm hearing you. All right. Seems fine over here. The use of
Please go ahead.
non-traditional. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Hello?
can hear you. I can
Okay.
hear you.
Yeah, I don't have, sadly, I don't have right now an example of use of non-traditional data source, but I'm gonna talk about what we have been doing in the Dominican Republic using administrative data records for exploiting this data and to produce and calculate some indicators of the SDG. Today I'm going to talk about the SDG 1311, a number of deaths missing, directly affected, number of deaths missing and directly affected persons attributed to disasters per 100,000 inhabitants. I'm going to talk about what we have been doing to collect and produce quality data to calculate this indicator. Next slide, please. Okay, well, first, it's important to all of you to understand our national planning system. We have a number of demand of statistical information. First of all, about the national level, we have the national development strategy. Also, we have the multi-year national public sector plan and the national statistical plan. Plus, in the international level, we have the sustainable developmental goals and the framework of Sendai. We've been working analyzing demands of the statistical information, and well, exploiting the data available. I mean, we have many public records, many administrative records, and we have been exploiting this data and trying to collect and produce indicators from existing data systems. Next, please. Okay, I'm gonna specify some of details of what we have been doing about the use of administrative data sources. Okay, well, first of all, we began working on this project in April 2023. We had a meeting and a workshop with the Civil Defense and the Emergency Operations Centers. These two offices are in charge in the characterization of statistical operations related to events and disasters. We then evaluate the administrative records and data they collect. We had like a couple of bilateral meetings to evaluate the quality of the administrative records. Then we produce result reports from the administrative data derived from the damage assessment and needs analysis form. It's called EDEN, and the National Integrated Information System, SINI. And then we made a workshop to define and make recommendations for the preparation of a memorandum of understanding to build the indicator 1311. Then we have the participation of the National Statistic Office and the Civil Defense Data Festival. And then we analyze some questions like, do we have the same perspective of data holders and the data producers in the framework of the DA13 project? Well, then we analyze this information. We then developed the memorandum of understanding. We developed a proposed agreement to formalize the exchange of civil defense data. And then we signed the agreement for that exchange to calculate the indicator in April-May 2024. Well, the indicator is, well, we work on the various indicators of 151, 1151, 30, but more than that, 1311. Next, please. Okay, then we began the calculation of the indicator with the data we have previously collected from the administrative record. Okay, well, this data is being collected for many institutions. They collect and produce the data, but we have to request the data through communication to the COE, the National Committee, Emergency Operations Committee. We collect the data, then we will make the information entry, filling up data arrays, updating the database, and we then made treatment of this data with Excel format reports, checking variables, database cleanups, and well, in calculation of indicators. And then we go to the next round, to the next phase in dissemination of information. We disseminate information mostly on infographics, but also on tables, databases, and sometimes newsletter. Okay, well, right now we have produced indicators from 2015 to 2020. We working on completing the other years, 2021, 2022, and 2023. We are working on that right now, and well, we have been producing and disseminating this data in our website and in other forms. Okay, to sum up, what has allowed us to move forward? I'm gonna tell some of the stuff we have been doing to produce this data. Okay, first, a couple of years ago, we created a specialized unit for environmental statistics. This unit is currently working on more SDG indicators, and is gonna use some of non-traditional data sources, and so we're working on that front. And gonna have some more data from non-traditional sources very soon. We also have defined statistical processes according to the demand for existing information. We have established coordination spaces with data producers, and we have analyzed all types of data sources and include innovations in the production of statistics. Thank you very much. We have Twitter, X, Facebook, and Instagram if you want to follow us. Thank you very much again.
Thank you so much, Alex. It's great to see how you use administrative data and to monitor and very important climate and disaster related indicators. I see someone, Catherine, you raise your hand, but can you just wait a couple of minutes, then after our last speakers, and we will invite you and to raise your questions. So our last speaker is Sarah Baisley from UK Office for National Statistics. She will present an open SDG platform and advanced customization of national SDG platforms. So I would like to invite Sarah to give our the presentation. Over to you, Sarah.
Thank you very much. I'll just share my screen. Okay, so thank you very much for having me to speak today. It's been a pleasure hearing everyone else's presentations so far as well. So as Yonggi said, I'm going to be presenting about OpenSDG and give a few examples of some of the national SDG reporting platforms that we work with. So just a quick introduction really on the importance of reporting national SDG data. So it's really quite essential for several reasons, primarily to be able to monitor progress over time, which will be impossible really without any data, and that will help inform decision making by governments and businesses, and perhaps also help integrate the SDGs into existing processes without having to reinvent policies and initiatives from scratch. It's really important to make sure no one is left behind, so that we can include vulnerable groups based on various different demographics. So disaggregations and exploring intersectionality is also really important. It also helps allow links between different goals to be explored, where various different topic areas might overlap. There's obviously quite a broad framework, and the different goals and even indicators aren't completely separate. Of course, it can help be able to compare progress and data globally, and also help inspire others and engage stakeholders by, showing the data that you have, which can help empower others into taking action and ultimately caring about the framework and the topic issues that underpin it. So where does OpenSDG come in? Well, OpenSDG is a free-to-use open source platform that any user across the world can make use of to manage and publish their data and statistics related to the SDGs. So at the moment, we have over 50 different organizations that use OpenSDG to report data. You can see on the right-hand side of the screen, there's just a screenshot of the UK's platform, for example. And within each of those goal icons, it takes you to pages per indicator, where it will display all the data that a specific country will have for that indicator. And the ultimate aim of this really is to inform users of the website of each country's contribution to the global agenda, and as we said before, help inform decision-making for a sustainable future. So this is a map that just shows the distribution of countries and organizations that use OpenSDG currently. So yeah, as I said, we have over 50 organizations, the majority of which are countries, but we also have a few subnational organizations that report their data perhaps for a city or a smaller region of their country. And we do actually have a couple of users who use OpenSDG for other purposes. So because it's open source, you can adapt the code and the resources that we provide to shape whatever system or framework you want to report on. So yeah, a couple of other users use OpenSDG for non-SDG related ideas. So some of the key features of OpenSDG, as I've just mentioned, it's open source, which means that anyone can access it, use it, distribute it, and really customize it to be exactly how they want it to be. And we primarily do that through GitHub. So I don't know if many people are familiar with GitHub, but it's a sort of user-friendly way of managing this sort of kind of complex website coding. As I've mentioned before, it's free to reuse, so any country or organization that starts using OpenSDG won't have any costs in setting it up, but also maintaining it as they progress. You can use multiple languages on the platform, so you can add as many different languages as you like, so that users of your website can access the data and information about the data in their respective languages. The OpenSDG can accept that you can provide data in any format, whether that's in Excel files, CSV, but also SDMX, so that's statistical data and metadata exchange. So that's quite a big selling point, because lots of data is reported to the UN in SDMX anyway. And we can also report metadata. So depending on how much a country has for each indicator, they can put all of that on the platform in one place, alongside their tables, charts, and maps for each indicator. So you can see a couple of examples on the screen where there's data and also a visual, a geospatial visualization on a map. And alongside that, you can also display your disaggregation. So again, as many disaggregations as you have or you would like to report, they will come up as drop-downs so that users can explore how different disaggregations or how different demographics might affect the data for each indicator. And in general, we've made sure that OpenSDG has been designed by and for our users. So we've taken a lot of user research into account when we've been designing OpenSDG and making sure that it really reflects the needs of all those that might use it across the world and their various different needs. That includes accessibility. So we've made sure that all our OpenSDG platforms meet the UK's accessibility standards, so that, again, anyone can make use of the website regardless of whether they have a visual impairment or any other accessibility need. I mentioned before, it's fully customizable, so countries can make changes as they wish. And a big part of OpenSDG is that it's collaborative. So we really try and encourage countries to work with each other and help each other out, which is really made possible by hosting our platform on GitHub. So we have different countries that will ask questions, and other countries will answer those questions and also raise any issues they have or suggestions for improvement. And then lastly, just a little bit about search engine optimization. So that's built into OpenSDG, so it encourages your websites to appear on different search engines such as Google or Bing or Firefox, whichever you're using. And lastly, OpenSDG platforms can be downloaded by their users as a progressive web app. So that means that those who want to can download those pages as an app on their phone, and that will also work offline if they should so wish. And this just goes through some examples of where different countries have customized. So Germany, for example, have got a slightly different color scheme. They also report their national indicators, which are separate to the UN SDGs, and they display their progress with these weather symbols as to how well an indicator is doing. Some countries choose different layouts, like Kyrgyzstan have a different layout here. Same with Iceland, and Cantabria here is a region, which you can see as well, there's different languages that are used there. So at the ONS, what we do is we maintain and develop OpenSDG as a platform for all of our users. So we are always trying to improve OpenSDG and make sure it's working smoothly for everyone. But we also try and make sure there's enough written and video guidance for all of our users, whether you're a new user or someone who's had a platform for a while. And we can provide additional assistance where needed. So we've been able to extensively support some of our countries through our international development team, which is where my role sits. And that's both by providing virtual but also in-country workshops. And we also collaborate with other statistical organisations to try and help improve OpenSDG, which includes working with other national statistics offices, but also the UNSD. And we're also part of the STMX SDG working group. So a little case study of recent work that we've conducted. We had a joint workshop that UNECA, the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, has facilitated, where 7 different African countries came together in Zimbabwe, and the UNSD delivered training on SDMX, and the ONS delivered training on OpenSDG. So by the end of that workshop, all participants had the skills to convert their data into SDMX format and then set up their national reporting platform to display and disseminate their data. And then we held a second workshop, which built on that first workshop, with most of those countries still remaining invested in the programme. But this time we also had the African Development Bank join, and this work was really quite important and revolutionary for our kind of system, because what we then introduced was an open data portal, which is hosted by the African Development Bank. So countries were able to convert their data into SDMX, upload it to AFDB's open data portal, and then we could use an API that pulled that data from the open data portal onto their OpenSDG platforms. So really that's sort of relieving some of the burden of reporting on the SDGs and data in general, as these statistics offices don't need to upload their data more than once to any organisation that might need it. It's just contained within AFDB's portal, and then anyone that needs it or wants it can pull from that central source of the truth. And then I'll move on to the next. And we were very happy that Zimbabwe have recently successfully launched their platform. So their platform's now live, and you can check out their hard work. And Kenya are very close to launching theirs, and will continue to support the other countries that were part of that project to have the same success in being able to launch. And part of that also includes introducing the ability to be able to report progress. So that's something we've been working on as a development for OpenSDG, is actually integrating some methodology that Canada have developed to help automatically calculate progress for indicators, goals, that countries can then display on the platform. So that's a very exciting new development that will help those countries and any of our other users implement too. So if you're interested in using OpenSDG or you have any questions and want to find out some more, please do let me know, and you can email me. My email address is on the screen, or you can email our international development email as well. Or if you just want to have a look or even just get started straight away, you can check out our online guidance at open-sdg.org, and there's there you'll find all of our documentation to get you started or just to read a little bit more about it. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. A very, very really useful resource. It's open. It's open source for many countries. I know many countries has already used take advantage of the open source and also the help support provided by ONS and other partners on this open SDG platforms. So now we have finished out this 4 excellent presentation from the speakers, and we are open to questions. If you have any questions for the 4 speakers, then please raise your virtual hand, and or you can type your questions either in the chat and in the Q&A. I can come to you. So I think before everyone start prepare for their question, maybe I can ask one question to all the speakers first. Take advantage as being a moderator. So maybe my first question to all the speakers, again, give you a couple minutes to answer, is how have digital platforms or using non-traditional data sources helped improve the timeliness or granularity of SDG monitoring in your countries? So maybe I would like to invite the first speaker, Yoshi. You want to come in here?
Yonggi, can you say one more time for your question to me?
Yes.
Sure.
So how this, I think you present non-traditional data source, how this non-traditional data source help improve the timeliness or granularity of SDG monitor in your countries? And what are some of the challenges you encountered?
Okay, so actually, I try to produce SDG indicator using non-traditional data for goal 11. It was 11. Today I just shared 11.2.1, but also we tried to produce some other indicator 11. I'm not exactly remember, but it was about all season road accessibility. I think maybe 11.3.1 maybe, yeah. But in our country, the result is nearly high, almost 100%. So I think we don't provide the data because we think already the infra is very well established in our country. So, but it is very I think that it is a very effective to promote our infrastructure is well standard, but also we also find out some area is much lower than national aggregated, like in rural area, and so we have to more focus on this area for the infrastructure like public transportation, such like that, because it is more important in this day, because in rural area is population is decreasing and elderly people is increasing. So we have some population problem in rural areas. So the government less investment to the elderly people in rural area, like public transportation. So we have to think about other kind of policy, not just for the public transportation. For example, one local administrative to more adopting some policy for taxi with a lower price than investment to more public transportation, something like that.
Thank you, thank you. This is a really excellent example how data can influence policy makings. And maybe I don't know for Khalid, you have any comments on these questions?
Yeah, thank you so much. Actually, as I said, this was the first time that we integrate the geospatial data and the census data to inform about specific SDG indicators. So the plan now, in collaboration with Ministry of Local Government and Ministry of Transportation, is to monitor and follow up by reporting on the spatial data to sustain the process. I mean, we hoping to repeat this exercise based on another periods, even in the West Bank, or hopefully in the next future in Gaza Strip. Also, the Ministry of Local Government is planning to produce some pamphlet or brochures regarding they will analyze the data at the city level. So this is the first time they are going to monitor the progress at the city level. The Association of Local Authorities, the Palestinian Association of Local Authorities, they built a portal to monitor the SDGs indicator at the each locality level. So nowadays, BCBS, the Ministry of Local Government, and the Association of Local Authorities is conducting a household survey to monitor the SDGs indicators, actually limited SDG indicators at the locality level. So the integration of the household surveys data and the geospatial data, there will be benefit to monitor and to report on the progress at that level. Also, as I said, this data will be a baseline for the upcoming interventions and the future, and also it will inform the upcoming national SDG report, and also the local voluntary report that prepared by Ramallah municipality, and hopefully in the upcoming year it will be the data will be used by Jericho and Nablus cities as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Khalid. I see some questions that's really interesting, maybe for other panelists, if you want to come in. This is one question. Do the experts in this session see opportunity for AI to involve data collection and analysis for SDG checking? I was wondering if any of you would want to come in for these questions. Anyone want to volunteer to answer this question? Maybe I'll put you on the spot, Sarah and Alex.
I'm not really sure, if I'm honest. It's not something I think is possible at the moment with OpenSDG to integrate that. It's more, we might be able to use AI to sort of help problem solve some of the issues we have and think about our user needs, but at the moment, not sort of an integrated tool within OpenSDG.
Thanks, Sarah. Alex, do you want to come in for these questions?
Yeah, well, we have been using AI mostly for building metadata, like proxies, to calculate indicators, like proxy indicators of the SDG. We currently are working on a project to calculate the public sector service satisfaction. I think it's like 16. I think so. We have been building like a couple of proxy indicators using AI, and so mostly it's for building help us to formulate and projects and building metadata, proxy metadata for the SDG. We have been using AI for that mostly.
Thank you for sharing experience. I think in the Q&A session, and someone also asked in Ghana how they collect marine layer data. So also, if you look at the Q&A, I shared a link from our Data for Now project story that in Ghana that they use both drones, AI, and the citizen data to collect the marine layers data. I see a hand up. Please go ahead. I think it's Nahiyati. No. I think
Hello, hi.
yes, I can hear you.
Okay, okay. My question is open to any of the presenter or anyone from the UN. Earlier, Sarah mentioned about the SDGs core agenda of no one left behind. So thank you for reaffirming the commitment to no one left behind. As we strive for global justice and inclusion, how do we ensure this principle extends to Palestinians living under prolonged occupation, where access to healthcare, education, and safety is severely compromised? What role can the SDG framework play in advocating for their rights beyond humanitarian aid? I understand it might sound, it's just that I do believe that if SDG principles of no one left behind is to hold true, it must apply even in the most challenging and complex realities. So can someone please respond to that curiosity? Thank you.
Thank you so much for this very important questions. I was wondering if any of the speakers would like to address these questions, including my colleagues in the early presenters.
Can I respond?
Yeah, please, Kami.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your question. It's a really critical one. I myself, as a Palestinian, can confirm that all Gaza people already left behind. Starvation is nowadays just killing everyone in Gaza Strip. No food, no water, no any accessibility to any resources, if there is any resources left behind in Gaza. So you are right. Not as SDGs, even even the all governments around the world, thanks to those who are supporting Palestinian people every day, every time. But this is not really enough to save the life of Gaza people, especially the children in Gaza. I think talking about SDGs is irrelevant in Palestine, especially in Gaza Strip, even in the West Bank. the settlers are every day attack people in the streets, and they attack them in their houses. And in Ramallah, yesterday, they cut the water. So everyone in Ramallah Governorate couldn't even take a bottle of water because they cut the pipes that carry the water to Ramallah city. So this is really a day-by-day situation we are facing. Hopefully, the situation became better soon, and every Palestinian child became safe. And we wish the safety for all children all over the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much to address the question. I think we run out of time. I apologize for not giving the other participant opportunity to ask the question. But if you have further question, you can reach out to us and we can share the answers through email communication. So maybe I'll quickly pass it over to Heather if you have final words and summaries.
Thank you so much, Youngie. Thank you all for your participation and thoughtful engagement today in today's session. I think Young-Shin said it best, that data innovation is essential not just for data availability, but for policy. And I think, you know, in light of all of the discussions here, what's most important is that the SDGs become an actual, you know, it's not about the data, it's about truly transforming lives of those around the world. That's what we want to do with the SDGs. And we want to make sure that the data, you know, represent actual people's lives transformed. So as we move into these final 5 years, we really want to keep pushing forward, scaling what works, learn from each other, continue to invest in each other. And on behalf of the Statistics Division, I really want to thank our speakers for sharing their insights and experiences. Thank you all for joining us, and we hope to see you at a future SDGs in Practice session. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today. Have a nice day or evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone. Thank you very much.